Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Overdrive Files. This is that day of the week where we just sit back and relax and answer some of your viewers submitted questions. And if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and join in on the discussion down below. Now let's get into some questions. Old and new Ghostbusters. Marry one, F one, and kill one. This was actually a pretty easy one to figure out. The one Ghostbuster movie that I would kill would be the most recent one, the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, and I think that movie, it's not as bad as people kind of. There's a lot of controversy with that movie when the first trailer came out for that, and it's not necessarily as bad as a lot of people think. It's pretty shitty. Like I don't like really any of the humor in that movie, but I don't know. It's a disposable Ghostbuster movie, and a lot of the humor was just pretty crappy to me. I didn't really like a lot of the humor in that movie, but yeah, that for me is easily the one that I would kill. The one that I would quote unquote F, trying to keep it PG-13 here, but that would be the second one, and I don't think that one, a lot of hardcore Ghostbusters fans kind of shunned the second one for whatever reason. It's not a terrible movie, but it is sort of a step down in terms of the first Ghostbusters movie. But yeah, I really enjoy that one. You know, it's not quite as good as that first one, but I would definitely choose that to be the one that I would quote unquote F. For the last one, you know, I would easily marry the first Ghostbusters movie. That to me is just, it's a staple as far as like an 80s comedy. That movie is just, it's a classic. You know, Bill Murray, like all the actors and comedians in that film are just amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame how some of the original cast members were sort of shoehorned into the more recent Ghostbusters movie, but definitely my favorite is that original Ghostbusters film. Do you expect that the new Star Wars trilogy from Rian Johnson will include an opening crawl? That's sort of been one of my gripes with these like one-off Star Wars movies with Rogue One, and I'm hoping the Solo movie has some sort of like a crawl. I don't think it will, but it's just, and they're trying to do it so that like it's a way to differentiate the episodic films to the standalones by just not having an opening crawl in the standalone films. But there's so much like, I think, setup that could be used, or just some exposition like dialogue to kind of inform the more average Star Wars fan or just general audience, that I think an opening crawl would help a lot. You know, the Rogue One kind of opening was just, it was like a cold opening where it's just kind of like a loud like bang or noise, and then it, you know, showed a planet, and then, you know, it's kind of a more typical like Star Wars opening, just it didn't have the crawl. So I don't know, Rian Johnson's trilogy, I would love for it to have an opening crawl, but you know, like, where's Lucasfilm gonna, you know, draw the line in the sand? Is it only is Rian Johnson's trilogy gonna be like episodes 10, 11, and 12, or like, it's hard to answer at this point. But regardless, even if it isn't quote unquote an episodic movie, I would still want it to have a crawl. Like George Lucas, he's not the one to kind of pioneer an opening crawl. Like he stole that from the old like Flash Gordon serials from like the 1930s. So yeah, I don't think it should be exclusive to the episodic movies. I would love to see it in just every Star Wars movie. I mean, a few years ago, all the books and the comics, they all had opening crawls. So I want it to be consistent throughout all of Star Wars, just not the episodic movies. So we'll see if the Benioff and Weiss movies, if they're doing Old Republic or whatever, but I think it would be really beneficial for the Rian Johnson trilogy or the Benioff and Weiss movies. So yeah, we'll see in a couple years, I guess. Thoughts on the DC animated stuff? I really enjoyed Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. I saw some good praise about Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. I haven't watched it myself, but from what I've heard, it's pretty damn good. So I'll definitely have to check that out. And I guess it's a little bit more violent, or kind of more mature. That was one of my problems with The Killing Joke, the recent sort of animated film with that. You know, you had Mark Hamill in there and Kevin Conroy, and it was sort of a missed opportunity. They kind of dropped the ball with that one, but it had an R rating, but I don't think it really needed to be R rated. But well, in terms of like, I don't think they really reached that R rating. It just seemed like sort of like they slapped the R rating on the Blu-ray or whatever. Like it didn't feel like an R-rated movie whatsoever. But I think with Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, it kind of earned that R rating. At least that's what I'm hearing. But as far as like the DC animated movies, like Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, it's just like that is easily my favorite out of any of the DC animated films, at least in like the last sort of like 10 years or so. What was it? Justice League Dark, that was kind of average to me. I thought that was okay. I like seeing Swamp Thing in there, like the whole Justice League Dark characters. They threw Batman in there when I didn't really think Batman was necessary. They kind of just do that to get more viewers to watch the film. But another one that I'm really curious to see, I'm not sure if it's out yet, is The Death of Superman. And you have like Rainn Wilson voicing Lex Luthor. That could be kind of cool. And it didn't really feel like Rainn Wilson. It actually sort of felt like a Lex Luthor character. When I saw that he was cast as Lex Luthor, I thought it could be a little bit too comedic. But another one is Batman Ninja. I haven't watched it. I've kind of heard mixed things. Like visually it looks awesome, but there's absolutely like nothing there in terms of like story. So if you guys have watched Batman Ninja, let me know if it's worth watching. I'm kind of on the fence whether I'm going to watch it or not. I almost watched it last week. I almost rented it, but I just never got around to it. So yeah, if you guys like any of these like DC anime movies or Batman Ninja, let me know down below which ones are worth watching. Have you watched Barry on HBO? It's actually pretty damn good. I have been watching Barry, and you're right, it is a surprisingly good show. And Bill Hader is sort of this like, it's kind of like Dexter, where you have this guy who's sort of like trying to live like a double life, where he's this, in Barry, he's like this former hitman who he's trying to leave that side of his life, and he actually wants to pursue being an actor, and he's taking these acting classes, and Henry Winkler is his acting coach. And man, is it good to see Henry Winkler in a solid TV show. Like, he's been in things here and there, but he's actually really good in this show as well. So, but yeah, Bill Hader, he's not the most believable hitman, but he really pulls it off. He has some like darker elements that his like character has, and the comedy is really good in the show. And I'm forgetting I don't remember the actor's name, but he was in Dodgeball. He was sort of like the older gentleman with glasses, kind of the dad, I guess, like 50 to 60 years old. I don't remember that guy. He might be in Office Space, the whole stapler guy. I think it's that actor, but he's great in the show as well. The guy's pretty funny. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Barry on HBO, check that out. I think you might dig it. It's now time for the suggestion of the week. My suggestion for you guys this week is just a YouTube video that I just sort of randomly stumbled upon. It's just called Steven Spielberg on the set of Jaws. And when I was thinking about this, I realized that I've never really seen any like behind the scenes footage of like the making of the movie Jaws with Steven Spielberg. And that's absolutely one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like a perfect movie in my opinion. It sort of has like elements of like every genre, whether it's like horror, action, adventure. It's just one of those movies that you can like throw on at any time. But yeah, it's a really good like behind the scenes documentary. It's only like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, something along those lines. But it's just really fascinating to see this like 26-year-old Steven Spielberg making this film Jaws, which has just become this like massive like pop culture, piece of art that's influenced like so much in the world of like film and movies. And I really was just completely fascinated watching this. So if you're like a fan of like behind the scenes stuff with like movies, or if you're just a massive fan of like Jaws, I really urge you guys to check this one out. But guys, that's it for this episode of the Overdrive Files. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to get a question or a topic on the show, just submit it down below in the comment section. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rex Overdrive. I'll see you next time.